Hey, it's Coach Taylor from SmarterTeamTraining.com. I'm excited once again to reach out to somebody via email that I do not know. Now, again, I always say I'll be honest with people on the show, and I try to be 100% honest with anybody that listens to this show all the time. It was an email that I just sent out to a master strength conditioning coach, and I just said, hey, would you be interested in getting on a show here with me? And he instantly fired back, Michael Doscher, and I might even be messing up how I pronounce the last name because he just told me it maybe 2 minutes ago. That's how quick we're getting on the show here with these guys. If you're in this field and you're not reaching out to somebody on a weekly basis just to ask questions about what has worked for others or find out what others have known now that they wish they knew then, I think you're really putting yourself on the back seat, man, as far as professional development. I really think more people need to take advantage of just sending an email, reaching out on social media, reconnecting on the phone, and then just asking questions at events, at clinics, or just following up with people as we go. So, Mike, man, I'm really appreciative of you being on the phone. Again, we've never met in person, so we're very, very clear with everybody that's listening. So I'm just very much looking forward to just asking candid questions and finding out a little bit about what's worked for you, my man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be asked, and it's humbling, and I've heard some of your casts, and they're fantastic. I'm excited to just give my opinion, and hopefully somebody will get a tidbit from it, because that's all it is. It's about giving tidbits and learning little bits here and there from everybody, because you can learn from everybody, good, bad, or indifferent, for different situations you might be. That's what I love about this profession. You can always take something away from somebody. This field has a host of information that you can get from and help you in many situations across the board, across your profession and career.
Mike, as I said before, man, I don't know you as a person. I'm sure I can Google whatever we got to do to find out what you did in 1998 and those types of things. But I want to know a little bit more about you as a person. I'm very intrigued by what kind of passion it takes to be a leader in this field or be a type of person who is leading young men and women to pursue their own dreams. What gets you fired up in the morning, and where does your passion for this field come from?
Well, back when I was in high school, I got injured. I hurt C5 through 7 on my cervical column, and I tried to play with it, finish out my senior year, and then I tried to go play in college, and my doctor told me either stop playing and have a right arm or keep playing and lose your right arm. So that was a big blow. And when I tried to go to Springfield College, I tried to walk on. I wasn't the greatest athlete. I wasn't an elite athlete. I was a blue-collar athlete, and that kind of hurt me when I couldn't, doctors gave me those options. So, of course, now having children and all that, I'm happy I chose that path. But when I got hurt, I realized that I was being trained wrong my whole entire life, up until maybe my junior, senior year of high school a little bit. I was chosen on a different path. I used to work at what's called the racquetball club, work out there in high school, and Harry Carson, a long time ago, I don't know if many people remember him, was an all-pro linebacker from New York Giants, and he used to come in and work out in the off-season at the racquetball club, and he used to have Johnny Parker's strength and conditioning book. And so I started working out with Harry and working out with that workout. I feel like I enjoyed it, and I was like, this is fun. Then the injury came along, and I realized I didn't want to leave sports. I didn't want to stop playing. I didn't want to stop being around sports. So I said, what could I do? And I'm not a very good person when I'm injured, so I know I wouldn't be very good dealing with injured people. And that's when strength conditioning was starting to come out. And I remembered Coach Parker's book and read that again, and remember I was training on it and watching Harry train on it. I said, I want to become a strength coach. I want to prevent what happened to me to other athletes so they become their best athlete, not have to deal with injuries, and prevent them from doing something they love. So then when I went to Springfield College, I got a degree in health, fitness, exercise science. And then from there, did an internship at Boston College, and then went to UNLV as another intern, master's at Mississippi State. Then I've been here at Valdosta State now for the past 19 years, enjoying being the head strength and conditioning coach here at Valdosta State, training our athletes here at Division II school down in South Georgia. So really the passion and everything came from is my injury and not leaving sports, and then realizing how much I could help other athletes hopefully prevent injuries. And then on top of that, also being around sports. I just love being around athletes. My biggest thrill of the day is why I wake up every morning when I do, and every strength coach knows our hours are crazy, is that I have an opportunity to help children become, or athletes or young men become the best athletes they can possibly be. And as I said, help, because at the end of the day, these kids have to buy into you and really work hard for you, and they have to do the work. But to have that opportunity to work with great young men and children and all that and help them become the best athlete possible is the funnest day. I don't even hit snooze. My alarm goes off, I'm up, I'm going, I'm excited. It's a great time. It's a great career. It's not a job for me. It's my passion. It's who I am.
Mike, I'm always curious to find out again, with my college background and get an opportunity to work at different levels as well, now that I'm in the private sector, I'm trying to find out what is working for high school athletes that are trying to transition into the college environment and do it more seamlessly. I mean, I know what it took to get to our program when we worked in the college environment, but I'm trying to be very broad with our scope so that we're getting a lot of people prepared for a lot of different aspects of just getting to the college level and the speed of play and practice and all the other things that go on. But are there any particular aspects of transitioning to the demands of being a college student athlete that you found throughout your career that really helps an athlete prepare for day one?
Well, the biggest thing I've learned over the years is, first of all, the level of training is becoming so much better at the lower levels than it has been. I realize a lot of kids are coming in now better trained and better conditioned. So the training's not the issue. It's more of mental aspects of coming in and time management, having the more freedom, being more responsibility for yourself, and being able to time manage and know how to recover and sleep correctly, because they go from being under mom, dad, grandma, papa's house or whatever to where they're on their own in their own dorm and they're up till all hours, not eating properly, doing other things, finding out how dating goes at the college level, that they're not recovering as much. Because, I mean, obviously the colleges recruit them because of their talent level and what they want, what they see in there and the potential. And the work ethic is there. They're freshmen, just like they're not the big, another thing is they're not the big top dog of the school anymore. They're back at being a bottom. So it's more of that stuff. It's more of the mental handling, being not the top dog, handling time, how to do your classes, how to make sure you're studying properly. Because the work's going to be there because that's structured. Their practice schedule, their lifting times, and all that is structured. And when they get in here, they're structured. It's the time away from here that they have to learn to structure better. And that's one thing I've noticed when freshmen come in. That's why I personally would love to see every freshman be redshirted, because I think that whole year of preparation and tour would unbelievably happen. Now, would that happen realistically? No. But, I mean, because at Division II level, we might need a kid to start right away. Division I, you have a little more leeway, like Alabama and big schools are 2 or 3 deep, so they can redshirt people. Here, we don't have that luxury sometimes. We try to, but we can't. So that's more the aspect of coming into college that the athletes really need to understand. And another thing, too, it's a whole other level. Yes, it is fast and all that, but still football. If they read their keys, they learn the system and everything, they'll be able to play at that level, because obviously the college recruited them because they see that in them.
I want to talk a little bit about time management, and I know there's some things that we can't control outside of the weight room, but the things that we can control within the weight room, I think it's really cool for freshmen in particular to understand, but especially those guys that don't have an opportunity to have any type of training background before they get to the college environment, from an administrative or from a time aspect of program design and how you're setting up your room. I mean, how do you schedule workouts? Are you going by sport only? Are you bringing guys in by positions? Are there class and year type scenario? Do you look at class schedule? I mean, what are you doing to make it the most effective and efficient approach as far as time goes to really help your athletes succeed?
We go by time of year, size of the sport, and time of practice and all that. If we are off season with football comes in 2 times a day. 2 times they sign up for it. Doesn't matter if they're receivers, DBs. We have a 2:30 to 4 group and a 4 to 5:30 group. And then within that group, what we do is we break down into 3 or 4 levels. We have levels of our groups. We have a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and elite. Well, this fall this winter we don't have any elite guys, so we have just 3 tiers. And we set them up on different racks, and we have rack assignments for them. As they come in during a group, the racks are up, we do our warm-up, they go to their rack assignment, the sheet's there, it already has the weights on it, and when the exercises they're doing and everything like that. So that's basically how we do a big team like that. Small teams, it depends if they're in season, off season, or anything like that. They go throughout the day. Like I know baseball, because that's the next sport I'm in charge with. Baseball lifts on Mondays and on Thursdays, or they have to get 2 workouts in those 5 days. And usually it's Monday, Thursday, because that's their best days to do it because of game schedules. And they have to come in between 6 and 12:30, 1 o'clock to be done with their workout so they can get to practice. We do that because, again, it helps in recovery. They get a good lift in, they can go to classes, eat, recover, and then go to practice. Because over the years I found that they don't really get very good lifting in before practice and they don't have a good practice, or right after practice we don't get a good lift in because something might go wrong in practice, a coach gets mad, runs them, or it goes long and it doesn't really jive. So we've set up a system where any sport that's in season has windows that are small sports. They have windows to come in. Big sports like football, they'll still have assigned times because they're so big. And that's how we usually work it out. If they're off season, they'll come in as a group. If they're in season, they'll come in throughout the day during assigned times that they have to sign up for. So that's how we manage it. And there's, again, we try to tier them. With other sports that are small, like baseball and stuff, depending on the needs, we might not have tiers. We might say, okay, everybody's pretty good. Everybody needs to work on this, because other sports don't lift as much as football does, or haven't lifted as much as football does. So they're usually at the beginner level anyway, and then we work them through different systems.
Right now we're in combine season, and I don't care if you're talking about the 40, the vertical jump, or pro agility, whatever you could talk about. I think one thing that supersedes them all is the bench press, and especially with the high school coach or high school player mentality. I mean, most of the guys are going to come in and ask me questions about the bench press. I mean, what advice would you have for a high school player wanting to increase their bench press?
Okay, honest question about that is, I look at them and say I really don't care about the bench, but I'll help them, because the squat and the clean is where the game's played at, and that's what shows up on film, on running speed and movement and stuff like that, because the more force you put in the ground, be able to change direction is very important, more than the bench press is. But we have different types of routines. One of them I got from a long time ago was from a friend of mine, is you put 225 on the bar, you do as many times as you can, you do as many push-ups as you can. You wait 3 minutes, you do 225 again. You do that for 4 sets, and then you work on down sets, where you do 205 and then 185 for as many times as you can. Again, doing in between every set how many push-ups you can. That's one system that's worked for some of our guys. It's pretty straightforward. Of course, I'm not counting the warm-up sets before you do 225, the rep test. Another one is that we've done where you work up to your 1 rep max and then go back down to 225 and see how many you get, and you always try to get one more or anything like that. So stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of hosts. You can use bands, chains, dynamic velocity. You use a strip set where you put 250 on the bar and then start working your way down and see how many reps you get on each set till you get down to 135, leaving a minute, 30 seconds to 45 seconds in between every set. So there's a whole host of bench things. And kids are always going to bench, so they'll always be strong on that. But my opinion is, tricep work, back work will also help too, because you got to support it. So more triceps and a lot more back work, getting to pull shoulders back. That also helps with developing the bench press, because the more stronger your back is, the better it'll handle the bench. So tools like that is what we usually do.
I don't know anything about your program design or how you actually set up your workouts per se. So my question I really enjoy asking, are there any particular exercises that you encourage in your program, or any exercises that you avoid in your program?
Well, it depends on the sport. Like right now, Pure Motion has that thing called the Renegade that I use. I bought those several years ago, and I love using that for our rotational sports and throwing sports. And we do a lot of Renegade clean and press, rotational clean and presses, a lot of rotational twists and rotations with them to help build up that rotational power. I've gotten away from the cleans with them and the snatches and stuff, because it's on a rotational power movement. Yes, we do squat, we'll do squat jumps, we do vertical jump to work on the horizontal power, and we do long jumps for vertical power. But using the Renegade and doing the Renegade clean and press and Renegade cleans and rotations and snatch rotations with it, would have to rotate, it seemed to really help our bat speed throwing velocity. That's one thing I've put in for those type of sports that I deal with. Trainer and I talked seriously long about overhead lifts for some guys. So if they have a shoulder problem, we try to fix the problem, and then they can go back to overhead. But risk-reward on doing some things behind the neck, just risk-reward benefit, we do it in front, or we'll do it with dumbbells or in a neutral position with a trap bar or a neutral grip bar, so we take away the stress on the shoulder, especially for people that throw and stuff like that, to take the pressure off the shoulder and not come down with impingement. Squatting, we do all different types of squatting. We love squatting, front squat, back squat, chains, boxes, all that type of stuff. So no, it depends on the sport, the athlete, what their restrictions are, and how we work. I used to be a real stickler on front squats, holding it in the clean position. But, with so many guys coming down with wrist and elbow injuries in other sports and having Tommy Johns, we can go to crossover, we can go to straps. I've learned that I'm not so hard anymore about how it gets done, as long as it gets done, and as long as working the purpose it works is. After being in the field for 24 years, almost 25 years now, that as long as we're getting training in, training's a supplement to their sport. So as long as we're getting it in and training the muscle and the multi-jointeds that we're supposed to, that's the goal that I'm trying to get, is help them become better athletes. On a side tangent with that, when our recruits come in, one of my biggest things, there's certain things I preach, and the things I preach is that is one, when they come in, I tell them, this is my role and responsibility as a strength coach. This is my feeling and how I feel about being a strength coach. Is one, our job is to prevent injuries that are preventable, and the ones that aren't preventably, hopefully make them less severe. Number two is to help them become the best athlete possible. Not the best football player, not the best volleyball player, not the best tennis player, soccer player, whatever, but help them become the best athlete possible. And then three is to help them be accountable to themselves and the team. And if you're dealing with a sport like football, I say themselves, their position, their side of the ball, the team, and then the legacy of the program, of the tradition of the program that you're in. Because everybody that came before them is give them everything there. What are you going to leave for the next group of people when you leave here? So I try to make them understand that that's my job, to keep them in those areas. And how I go about that is, the first thing we care about is technique. I care about technique more than I care about weight, because technique will start the two problems that we have. It's common injuries, and the injuries that we can't prevent, hopefully make them less severe. If you have great technique, you should have the most stability, mobility, and power coming out of that joint or that structure, that you should be able to prevent common injuries, and you should be able to prevent severe injuries from being so severe, hopefully. I mean, you can't help a helmet coming in or things like that, but hopefully instead of ripping tendons and ligaments, they just stretch and they're back faster. And then on top of that, with the second one being the most athletic, is if you got the full range of motion, mobility, and stability in that joint structure and that muscle structure, then this should be the most athletic they should be. And then, of course, at the end of one, keeping accountable. That's making sure that we sign every set, at the end of every set, make sure they're being honest with each other and being honest with their teammates about what they're doing. Which leads into what I tell them. The last thing I tell them is, when we recruit them, is my job, as I said, is to help them. I can't do it for them. I can't do anything. I can just show them the best path and make sure I keep them accountable when I feel like they're not being accountable. So I tell them at the end of the day, every time they leave the weight room or a workout, is the mirror test. You have to ask yourself 3 questions in front of the mirror. Why the mirror? Is because the mirror cannot lie. Because you're looking yourself in the mirror. You can lie to myself, you can lie to your girlfriend, your mom and dad, other players. You can lie to everybody except for that person in the mirror. And then as a side note, as a joke, if they can lie to themselves in the mirror, the psychology department's on campus, I'll bring them over there because that's above my pay grade. So then that usually lightens the mood up a little bit and they joke around. But then I say, 1, did you do every set and every rep with the right weight? If they did that, then we did 1/3 of our job that day. Number 2, did you do your best? And then, well, how did I not do my best if I did every set and every rep with the right weight? Well, did you test your hardest to make sure that this workout was hard and it was a challenge to do it, but you were able to do it? That's doing your best. And then that's the answer to number 2, if you can say yes to that. The third question is did you get better? And they're like, well, Coach, if I did the first 2, how did I not do the third one? Well, again, it goes back to technique. If I'm telling you to get lower, if I'm telling you to put some more intensity, to work on this and work on that, you're not working it, you're just doing it to doing it, you didn't get better. So those are the things I try to emphasize. I put a lot of pressure on the athlete themselves to make sure that they know how to keep themselves accountable to themselves and the team and the tradition that the program has. So those are things that my beliefs are, and that's the things we go on when we start working out here and stuff like that. And I just went off on a tangent right there, so I apologize. But I'm just trying to give you the most that we try to do here at VSU.
Getting a chance to obviously learn through this message real quickly from just a couple minutes here on the phone from you. It sounds like relationships are very important to you too. I mean, it sounds like you were talking about establishing some type of trust and just being able to compete with one another to help each other go in a positive direction. I mean, how much emphasis do you place on learning about each player, each coach, their background, their motivation, and their goals?
Well, I try to touch every player and get to know every player as best as I can. But the biggest thing is with my athletes is I want to show them that I care, and I'm because in the team of college sports and professional sports, it's getting real bad, and it's almost shipping down to high school. It's getting to be more of a business per se. And it should be to a point, because when you're on scholarship and all that, and you're paying money, you're getting money to go to school, or you're pro and you're getting paid to do things, that's the business side of it. In the weight room, I try to emphasize to my athletes that I don't have control over your playing time, your scholarship, or anything. All I care about is helping you become the best athlete possible, and to believe in me that that's what they need to do. So it's believing in me and being totally honest with them and upfront with them and being fair. That's one thing about, being in a strength position field that I love, is I can be fair with the guys. I can be blunt honest with them because they either did or didn't, or they're not living up to their potential, and I can call them out on that because they can actually see that. So that's the biggest thing about building a relationship, is that you're the most consistent person that they know. Because being consistent and being respected and being liked, is important. But in that thing is, as I said, being liked is last, because being consistent and being respected is the most important part. Once the kids respect you and understand that you treat everybody the same, and you do everything, you walk the walk and talk the talk. If you tell them that you've done it, or you have done it in the past, or you're doing it now, or you know what it feels like, they'll respect you a lot more. And as I said, the last thing is, once they respect you, they'll learn to like you because they know that they can trust you. And once they know they can trust you, you've won over an athlete. The biggest reward I ever get is when old athletes come back and say, "Coach, you haven't changed one bit. I still remember you saying that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago." Or, "Coach, I hear what's coming out of my mouth when I'm training my athletes, the same thing you said. I agree with you. I understand now." The worst thing an athlete can ever say to me, and I feel sorry if they do because I feel like I've let them down, if they say, "Coach, I wish I would have," or "I wish I could have." Because I try to make them understand that there is no wish I would have, wish I could have. Do what you can do. Attack the day. Every day is an day. You got to get better or stronger or faster or better at something. Every day is an opportunity to get better at it. No matter how you feel, you got to compete against yourself every day and try to work on something of your game or your aspect of your body or even your relationships with the teammates. It has to get better and stronger so the team can succeed. So that's where I try to win them over that way. Yes, developing that trust, that relationship, that respect, and then the friendship comes. Some kids don't understand it. Another thing is kids coming out of sports today, so it's a high school level and even some at the college level that transfer here. And I don't know if – I'm not saying every coach in the world does this, so I'm not bad-mouthing any coaches. I'm not saying anything. But some coaches have come through other places I've been and here and other stuff that they'll attack the kid. I mean, you can coach motivationally a lot of different ways. And my athletes know one thing about me. Yes, I do use language sometimes when I get mad. I do yell and stuff like that. But the kids understand I never yell at the kid, because a lot of coaches or a lot of people, unfortunately, in today's society, yell at the person. I'm not yelling at the person. I tell the kid that right now. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at what you did wrong, because I didn't expect you to do that wrong. You as a person, I still love you, and I still respect you, but I do not respect what you did wrong. I'm mad that you did this. That's what I'm yelling at. That's what I'm mad. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at what you did. Too many people make things personal. I try not to make that personal when they mess up. But before that, they also know that I will not yell at them unless I know they know that they messed up. I can't yell at an athlete if I'm still teaching an athlete. If the athlete doesn't know, I cannot yell. I have to teach. I have to coach. I have to make sure they know. Once we both understand that I know and they know that I know, then I can yell at what they did wrong, because I would not expect that of them. So it's that type of trust and relationship that you got to be. Yeah, I can get on a kid, but I'm getting on a kid what he did wrong, not who the kid is. And some people take it too far and take it who the kid is. So see, it's a different way of approaching kids and yelling at them or talking to them that you develop the relationship, because kids will shut you down if you attack them nowadays, which you shouldn't do anyway. But through years of coaching, I finally realized that, because when I'm young, coming out, I thought you just yelled and everything. Now I know there's a way to do that to make sure you don't shut a kid down.
A lot of times in the strength and conditioning field, our role kind of deviates a little bit or gets added on to us, the nutrition components. I mean, how are you promoting a healthy nutrition aspect to your program? Is there education and application environment type things that you're doing to really help inform or send that message home?
Well, being at Division II, it's really hard because we don't have the budgets to do it, and we don't make training tables mandatory or make the meal plan mandatory here because of financial reasons. But I have a tremendous staff that helps me, and have tremendous people that have helped me in the past. My past assistants who have been unbelievably great for me, develop PowerPoints on nutrition, sit down and talk to our athletes every day about nutrition. Constantly remind them to eat, sleep, and drink. We say on that because that's recovery. That's the biggest thing we do. We try to educate what choices to eat, what not to eat, and a lot of the young guys, my assistants and GAs and stuff, have done a tremendous job of practicing what they preach and eating wise. They'll see them eating the same way that they're preaching to the athletes. Now me, I'm old school. I don't eat terrible, but I'm also 45 now, and I wrestled for 12 years of my life. I've learned I'm going to eat what I want, and I'll just train harder because I'm training for life now and just having fun and enjoying, working out and still training to hit certain things. But as far as also eating wise, I just deprived myself for 12 years of food when I wrestled for 12 years, so I'm going to eat what I want when I want and just work it off. That's kind of the joke around my athletes. Like, you're old enough, coach, you can get away with that. And then I'm like, I know, but I still eat well. They still don't see me eat a lot of crap or do a lot of things wrong. They just know, coach, going out to dinner with your wife, don't make a good dessert. Make sure it's, we'll joke around that way. So it's that type of stuff. But yes, I have a great staff that does develop PowerPoints, and we do help with trying to get the right type of supplements, make sure they're not taking the wrong stuff, make sure we look at it and screen it and all that, and make sure it's not illegal and stuff like that. But being Division II, it's kind of hard at this level. Well, hopefully it will trickle down to some point that, we can feed kids anytime we want, but we still have those little mandates that say, 1 or 2 meals a day or this or special meals or something like that. Kid comes in, hasn't eaten all day or something like that. We have a snack area that, I'll go buy out of Sam's or something like that, and we'll have some snacks up there or something like that so the kid's not starving or something, because then he won't have a good performance or a good workout or good practice. So there's ways around it that's not illegal that we can do, but we do educate. We do try to teach. I've gone to stores with kids and shown them. My staff has done that. As I said, we really try to pump that because that's recovery, and the only time the athlete's going to get better and physically stronger is when they're recovering.
I know you've been in the iron game here for a very long time, and I commend you for obviously your passion for helping others. If there's one motivational message you have for young professionals in our field that are up and coming, what would you tell them as far as a way to lift their spirits and hopefully help them achieve their own greatness?
Be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself. You can come from, there's gurus out there, there's people out there more than I ever forget. I turn to Dan Austin, Al Vermeil. There's several people I'll turn to call and ask what they're doing. But at the end of the day, you have to be yourself. You can't be a carbon copy of somebody else, because then you're not genuine. And athletes will see right through somebody that's not genuine. If they don't see the passion in your eyes and you're just doing somebody else's workout and you can't justify why you're doing it, or you can't adapt to the situation you're in, then the athletes aren't going to buy in. Every place you go and every place you go, take something from it, but don't take the whole thing. Because when you get to your place, it's going to be different. You have different coaches, different athletes, different situations, different financial situations. You have to make things work for you and what you do. It has to come from your heart and your passion and your love of what you do. It can't just be a carbon copy of this is what we did at Texas A&M, LSU, Oregon. This works there, so it's going to work here. It's not going to, because you don't have those type of athletes or those type of coaches. There's things you take from it, the work ethic, the dedication, the loyalty, and all that you can show your athletes. But at the end of the day, you have to be you, and you have to really love what you do. You don't. I know people that are in the profession that love what they do, but they're always half-empty guys. To really love this profession, love what you do, you have to be a half-full guy or a full guy, where you see options. If there's a wall, how do you get around it? How do you get over it? How do I make this work? That's what makes me drive every day. How do I touch this kid? The kid's not doing this right. How do I touch him? How do I coach him up? The thrill of just watching an athlete even make a 5-pound gain in his senior year that he's been stuck at this weight. That takes a lot of coaching and a lot of motivating that athlete to do more, because as they get older, it's going to take more of them to do. Or watch an athlete go from what I call a neuromuscularity as a freshman, especially basketball players that have grown 1.5 feet in 2.5 years and their body still hasn't caught up with them, to by the time the senior year being all conference and all American and all that. Just keep that love and passion, no matter how negative people get around you. And unfortunately, with the way some things are, some people are just very negative, and coaching staffs and stuff like that, they always look at the bad side of it, I always look at, well, why can't we do this? Why shouldn't we do this? Why won't this make us better? And be that type of person. Always be the thermostat, not the thermometer.
Again, Mike, man, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day here. I took a whole bunch of notes already, and I'm sure I'm going to follow up with a couple different emails. If someone listened to this conversation, again, between you and I'm just in shock at how quick these emails go back and forth and when we get on the phone together. But if someone wanted to reach out to you to find out more information about what you have going on, man, how can they connect with you?
Well, on the web page, my information's on there. So if you go to valdostastate.edu and go to athletics, you'll find my email address and all the other pertinent information right there. That's the best way to get a hold of me, by email, and then my office phone's on there also if you have a direct question or stuff like that. But that's the best way to get a hold of me. I mean, I am not an expert. I am not a guru. I still have so much to learn, but I will give you my advice, and that's the best thing I can do. I just learn from everybody. As I said, I just keep calling, talking, and just keep trying to get better. And the way I get better, and this is one thing also for the young straights coaches in profession, that sometimes people are scared of doing, and I might be rambling here a little bit, but I feel this is an important subject to touch on, is that my dad always taught me one thing that was very important. When you're going out and you're getting a job and you get your job that you want, don't micromanage. Let people do their job. You hire them for a reason. Let them do their job and let them be successful also. With that, when you hire people, though, always hire people that are two things. One, smarter than you, and one, are stronger in your weaknesses, because it only complements the program and what you do. Don't be afraid to hire somebody smarter than you. I hire people smarter than me all the time. The staffs I've had with Andrew Altoff, General Manelli, Shepard Allen, my guys now, Will Wright, Kari Long, and Michael Raleigh, they've all done a phenomenal job for me. Taylor Davis, they've always been smarter than me, and they've always been stronger in my weaknesses, because that's what makes the program excel, and that's what you want. So those are the things that you need to look at and be motivated for. And then also, as I said, with that micromanaging, you hire these people to do a job. Let them do their job. Teach them how to do stuff, because what you want to do is what my father-in-law taught me is two things also, is that one, if something went wrong, what did you do to help that go wrong? It's not somebody else's fault. Did you not communicate well enough? Did you not tell them what you want? But what went wrong that you could prevent that going wrong? Because everybody has a hand in it. It's not just one person. And then also, when you hire somebody and you have them there, is you hire them for that job, let them do their job, and make sure that you give them enough freedom and confidence to do the job without having risk of failure, because you only learn from your failures. And it's not failure, it's an educational movement. So that's those things I've learned over the years that are most important when you become a assistant or a head. Because what you're trying to do with your staff is, if you have an intern, you want to train him to be a GA. If he's a GA, you want to train him to be an assistant. If he's an assistant, you want to teach him to be a first, second, or third assistant or a head guy. Well, how are they going to do that if you don't give them those opportunities? Now, I'm not saying you don't observe and all that, but you observe from afar. You give them responsibilities to prove themselves, so when they go out in the world, they're confident enough to do it and do it well enough. You just guide them. You don't tell them exactly how to do stuff. I tell my staff all the time, if I got to tell you exactly how to do something, I might as well do it. But this is what I want done. Please get this done. And then see how they do with it. And then you critique it at the end, like you do a paper or review. Say, okay, that was great the way you did it this way. That's another way to do it, but maybe this would have worked better, and gone from there. But I never pigeonhole anybody. I would let them be creative and make sure that they understand that I'm trying to train them for their next job.
That's great advice, Mike. I appreciate the time that you spend with me here. Hopefully, this is a launching pad for us to do many more things down the road, and I look forward to just keeping in touch. Obviously, I'm going to fire back with some questions here about the conversation we've already had on the show, and I look forward to continually learning from you, my man. It's been an honor to talk with you, and thank you very much for your contribution to the show. Robert,
thanks very much. It's been an honor for me also, and it's been a humbling experience. I hope somebody got something from this audio interview, and it's been my pleasure and honor. I've learned a lot. Thank you.